Alright, I'm in raw mode. This is a piece of Kydex. This is the shiny side, that's the flat side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quarter it so that I have a shiny side that I'm going to try to epoxy together, and then I'm going to do it again on the dull side just to see if there's a difference. I'm going to use the West system. The West system. I need a little torch so I can flash it. I'm going to mix it first. And while I'm mixing it, I'm also use this as a piece to see if it'll stick together as well, because that's another form of plastic. So it tells you it wants 50-50, and this is the G-Flex 655. So I'm not going to need a lot of this stuff, because I just want to adhere a few pieces together. That's the resin. Now I'll tell you, the West system is a rule, and I've said it before. When I worked at West Marine, we used to get a lot of people in to work on their boats with this. Let me turn that TV down. To work on their boats with it, as well as we used to get artists in, because sometimes they would do some sculpturing with styrofoam. And the West system, you were able to apply it without it melting the styrofoam, which was good. So it had a lot of uses. The other thing is, a lot of your epoxies, or not so much epoxies, but your resin mixes, epoxy mixes for gel coating or fiberglassing rather, sometimes you have to kind of seal them. You have to kind of make them airtight. You know, you just can't mix it like this and let it dry. I'd have to put a piece of film over it, where the West system would dry regardless. So again, a lot of people used to like the West system for that. It's a good product. Anybody that deals with boating would know the differences between the two. So, but now I'm mixing this up. I'm going to let it sit. You're not going to see the rest of this until it's done tomorrow, but I will glue them all together now. If I can get this bottle open of cleaner. What the fuck? Come on. Be nice. I just had you open yesterday. Now you're going to be difficult. But anyway, there we go. Thank you. So much for that. So, let me get this lit. This takes a second because it never bites the first time. Let me soak this thing up. Wipe that off. Wipe that off. And after you wipe it, I want you to flash it. Alright? You know, that's basically what they mean by it. And I'm going to do the other side here, the flat surface. Flash it. And that's done. I should have done these two, but I'm not going to worry about it. So, now they want you to put it together, but they don't want you to squeeze it so hard that you're oozing all the stuff out from between. You have to have product in between. If you haven't got the product in between, there's no sense doing it. So let's just do it this way for now. So this is the flat side to flat side. I'm just going to mush it around a little bit with just a little pressure. I'm not squeezing hard, and that's all they want you to do. So that's going to sit there until tomorrow. Let me do the same thing with the shiny side, just to see if there's a difference between the two sides and how it works. I mean, there's a difference between the two sides, as we can see. So, gee, the mailman got by today without the boys barking at him. You know, I hate to discourage the boys when they bark, because, you know, they do, well, I don't want to say they do a lot of barking, but they do bark. But I look at that as that's the way of them to communicating. You know, sometimes it can be annoying, and I'm sure that, you know, I get annoyed by it myself. And, you know, but, you know, I look at it as to where that's just them communicating. That's like you and I talking, you know, so they have to have some type of communications between one another, or if they're talking to the mailman, you know, basically, you know, we look at it that way. If they're trying to communicate, you know, what are they going to do? You know, they don't talk, they bark. That's their way of communicating. So I hate to keep hushing them up when they're barking. Now, if they're doing a lot of unnecessary barking, you know, well, what's unnecessary? I try to determine that, to be honest with you. I try to figure out, okay, what are they barking at? You know, if they're barking at another animal or something, well, the other animal is probably not going to understand dog bark. And the other animal probably isn't going to hang around all that long anyway. But, you know, I kind of let them do a little barking, even though it gets annoying at times, because they have to. You know, I mean, chickens cluck, roosters, you know, whatever it is they do, they do. You know, I mean, it's just a form of communications. You know, horses, you know, they make their noises. You know, I used to work at a stable for a number of years. I used to be a trail guide, but it was in my younger years. It was a lot of fun. Horses are a smart animal, and they're very easily trained with a little love. A lot of guys have different ways of training them. They train them by the fear, you know, by abusing them, which is not, in my opinion, not a way to do things. You know, but I never had a problem training or even breaking a horse, and I've broken a few horses. And I don't do it by, you know, yelling, screaming, beating, whipping. You know, it just takes a little time, and they have to get to trust you. And once they trust you, the bond is there. All right? If you're going to beat them, that's not a trust. That's a fear factor. And they're only doing it for fear. And I don't want my animals to be involved in any type of training that's going to inflict a fear. And that's just, in my opinion, not the right way of doing it. If somebody does do it that way, by inflicting some type of fear into an animal to train them, well, I'm going to tell you right now, I tell you in front of your face, you're an asshole. And I don't care who dislikes me for saying that. All right.